everyone. I hope you're doing well. We're still missing you, but we hope you're doing well. We have given your family lots of resources to enjoy together. It's like we took a Sunday school class from church and just brought it to your house. So parents, I do hope it's not too much. There's sometimes a lot of material in those folders. Just use whatever is helpful to your family. I'm wondering if you guys have been able to watch the missions highlight video of the Dye family. Remember, they are in Kentucky and their dad is a pastor at a church. They felt God calling them to move to Atlanta to start a church and tell people about Jesus. This week, we'll watch the second part of that family story and learn about what happens when they arrive in Atlanta. When I watched this, I was a little surprised. When they moved to Atlanta, they started a snow cone business. They have one of those cool trucks with a window in the side like an ice cream truck. But it surprised me because they moved to Atlanta to start a church. Where does this snow cone truck business fit in? You'll have to watch the video and find out. I love all these resources that come from the Gospel Project. Let's review that gospel plan that we learned last week. I'm wondering if you got to show anyone in your family about it. It is such a neat and simple way to remember God's big rescue of His people, His rescuing of us. Remember, we'll start. God rules, we sinned, God provided, Jesus gives, and we respond. We'll keep reviewing this as a way to remind ourselves of God's awesome plan for His people. Today in our story, we're going to meet a man named Gideon. Let's turn in our Bibles to Judges 6 and 7. And this is right after last week's story. Do you remember we read about Deborah last week? So this is just the very next story. And in my Bible, on chapter 6, it even says Gideon's name. Remember, we are studying a time of Judges when God provided leaders for His people. And we've been learning about how the Israelites kept forgetting about God and turning away from Him. And then things would not be going well for them. At the start of our story this week, the Israelites have forgotten about God again, and they're being ruled by their enemies, the Midianites. Now, these Midianites were mean to them. They stole their food and ruined their farms. It was such a bad time for the Israelites. They cried out to God for help again. God sent a message to His people here at the beginning of Judges 6. I wanted to read verses 8 through 10 for you. So this is Judges 6, 8 through 10. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel says. I brought you up out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians, and I delivered you from the hand of all your oppressors. I drove them out before you and gave you their land. I said to you, I am the Lord your God. Do not worship the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you live. But you have not listened to me. Here we see God reminding His people of His faithfulness in the past and recalling His promise to continue to be faithful to them. Maybe you can remember some of these things that we've recently studied. God rescuing them from Egypt, giving them the land He has promised. God is reviewing His faithfulness to Israel. Can you think of times in your life when God's been faithful to you? If you have trouble coming up with something, ask your parents. I'm sure they have stories of many times they saw God guiding their steps or providing for them in very faithful and loving ways. Parents often have stories like that. In today's story, an angel appeared to a man named Gideon. The angel told him, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon's response was like, "Who, me? My family is famous for being weak, and I am the weakest in my family." The Lord answered Gideon saying, "I will be with you against the Midianites." I can't think of a more encouraging statement than the Lord is with you. The God of the universe, helping you in your struggles, being with you. That is a game changer for how we view the struggles we might be facing. God asks Gideon to do some brave things in today's story, but God helps him all along the way. We'll see how God shows Gideon that the Lord is with him. In a battle later in today's story, God makes it very clear that He, God, is the one battling the Midianites on behalf of Israel. It wasn't that Gideon was so strong and powerful or that he had thousands of warriors with him. It was God's power against their enemy. I love how we're seeing God's faithfulness to His people, even when Israel was unfaithful and forgot about God. God is gracious to us too. He is near to us, providing for us in so many ways. And He has provided the most special gift, forgiveness of our sins through Jesus, which makes a way for us to be children of God. That reminds me of our memory verse for this month, 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just and will forgive us our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. That is such a big promise for us. It makes me feel so loved by God that He is faithful to forgive. And this is where the response part of our gospel plan comes in. Our lives are changed when we understand God's love for us. We can rest in His care for us, and we can love those around us so dearly because we are dearly loved by God. This week, can you think of a time when you felt weak or inadequate, maybe like Gideon, but God provided for you? Maybe you felt scared or shy about something, but you knew God was with you. I'd love to encourage you to ask your parents about a time when they saw God's faithfulness. It's such a beautiful thing that we can look back on the way God has been faithful to us and how He loves us. What a gift. I hope you have a wonderful week. Enjoy learning about Gideon and seeing God's faithfulness, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.